Hello and yes, welcome back to another video, guys. Now this is my new kind of series that I've just started last month. At the end of every month, I'm just going to quickly go over every single film I've watched. So there hasn't been as many as last month, but I've still watched a good handful throughout September. Yep, September. This whole year's been so weird. It's hard to remember what month we're even in sometimes. So I watched 3, 6, 9. 12 films. 12 films this month. So that's pretty good. Nearly a film every 2 days, nearly. Before we get started, I just want to say my Blu-ray hunting video is still on for the weekend. But those of you who might have heard in my last video, I've been making this huge video. I've been editing it for like 3 weeks. And it's going to be really long. It's like a mini movie project for me almost. I uploaded a test footage privately to this channel. And copyright claims have taken it down. Because there's a lot of movie footage in it. Even though I reversed all the footage and put some bits in slow-mo, YouTube has still caught me out. So I'm currently looking for elsewhere to upload it. It's a big project I've been making secretly. I haven't talked about it too much. But like I've put, honestly, like a solid month now into making this video. So I'm a bit disappointed I can't have it up on my channel. But I'm trying to find somewhere else to upload it. And then I'll do a video here on my channel where I'm like, hey, here it is. Here's a link in the description to it. So I do still plan to find a way to get it out there on the internet for you guys to watch. Because I put so much effort into it. But at the minute, we're still trying to figure that video out. But other than that, hey, the Blu-ray hunting video is still coming. And I've also got another big video in the works, which doesn't require any movie clips, so it won't get copyrighted. So there's still a lot coming. But anyway, let's get on with the films that I've seen throughout the month of September. So this is in order of when I watched them. Some of them I'm going to go a bit quick on because I've done reviews. Like this first one. The first one I'm going to talk about is Mulan. I'm pretty sure I did a review of that on my channel. I definitely talked about it in my podcast, Off to the Movies, link in the description. Mulan, this is the Disney 2019 remake, of course. As I say, I have talked about this one a lot, so I'm going to be a bit brief on it. I thought this film was just not very good at all. All of the joy and fun that the first film brought us has been sucked out into this live-action adaptation. All the characters are just so boring in this one. Like, they're really dull. There's not an interesting character there. For the most part, the actors don't do a good job either. It's just missing the you know, without Mushu and the songs, I just found this nowhere near as compelling as it should have been. Also, it's weird, they almost do it scene for scene sometimes, this movie. But even though they've taken Mushu out, but then they've added this weird witchcraft woman in, and it's like, I don't get what the vision was behind this film. I thought this film was massively disappointing. Did I give films marks out of 10 on my last video? I really can't remember if I gave films marks out of 10 on my last video. I guess we'll just do it. I give Mulan. I don't know. I can't even remember what I gave it in my review. I'll give it a 4.5, I guess, out of 10. Then we got Bill and Ted Face the Music. This is the new Bill and Ted movie. Now, Bill and Ted you have to take with a grain of salt. These films are stupid. It's another way to describe them. So this film here, this is one of those films where you do have to turn off. I don't like it when people say you know, when I criticize a film, I hate it when people say, oh, you should just turn off and enjoy the film for what it is. I hate it when people say that, because it's like, I shouldn't have to turn off to enjoy a film. But with this film, you actually sort of do. You do have to turn off a bit for it because the plot is so... it's ridiculous. It's Bill and Ted. It's Bill and Ted. This is a remake that's a little too late. I think this film just should have come out quite a while ago because I don't think the appreciation for Bill and Ted exists as much as it used to. These characters are dated. This idea is dated. It's a story that just would have worked a lot better had it come out 20 years ago. Unfortunately, now it makes for a fun movie, I guess, with some interesting moments to it. There are a couple moments that I found funny, not near as many as I should have done. Yeah, this film, I don't want to be too critical on it because the film is very self-aware of what it is. The film is aware of what it's doing, and that's not much. And I love Keanu Reeves, but at the end of the day, this film ain't great. I'll give it I'll give it a 5 out of 10. I'll give it a 5. Then we got The Banker, which is a Apple TV original movie. I'm pretty sure it's an original movie. I don't think they bought it, you know, like Netflix does with films sometimes. I'm pretty sure this one was originally Apple TV, starring Anthony Mackie and Samuel Jackson. This is based on a true story, and when I tell you what true story this is based on, you're probably going to think this sounds rather boring. It's about Sam Jackson, Anthony Mackie, these two guys, you know, this is set in the early 60s, 62, I believe. You know, these black guys, very intelligent, and they want to buy a bank. But back then, they couldn't buy banks because they were black in America, and, you know, it's so racist. So they get a white guy, and they say, look, we're gonna own the bank, we're going to do all the paperwork, and we're each going to take a share of the money we make. But you're going to be the face of us. You're going to have to learn how to be a banker. You're going to have to learn how to be a posh, rich white guy. So they teach him like golf and stuff. And it makes for a very entertaining movie. I thought this film was really, really good, really solid. You don't have to know anything like mathematical about the banking stuff, because they touch on it briefly, but the film doesn't say you have to know this. You don't. You just have to know what the film is going for. And the actors will do a superb job. I thought this was actually a really solid movie. It's one of the best 2020 films I've seen. In terms of acting and the pacing, the score was good for the movie. There really wasn't much I disliked about this film. I thought it was just really entertaining, and I didn't think it would be. I'm going to give this film an 8 out of 10. I thought it was a very, very solid movie. Then we've got I'm Thinking of Ending It All. Is that right? Is that the title? I can't even remember. So this is, I don't even know how to describe this movie. This is a weird one. Because I've seen a lot of people love this movie, say that it's one of the best films of 2020. And I've seen people say they hate it. And I kind of fit somewhere in the middle. This film is very artistic. You know, it's very much got its nose in the air. But it's still driven forward with an interesting set of characters, which I really can appreciate. Whereas, like, comparing it to another film that gave me similar vibes last year, like Midsummer, I couldn't connect with anyone. I found the film so pretentious, I couldn't quite comprehend anything that was happening. I didn't know why things were happening. This film has moments like that, where you don't know why certain things are happening. And it is a bit pretentious at times, but it's nowhere near to the level of Midsummer, because you have these very down-to-earth characters which hold you in a bit more and are a bit more interesting to watch. Whereas Midsummer, the only one that I sort of found interesting to watch was the lead actress, and then she got on my nerves near the end. So anyway, this isn't me. I don't want to have a discussion talking about why I think Midsummer's bad. But this film sort of falls into that same category. But it has a lot more interesting moments about it. The lead character, I forget the name of the actress in it, but she done a superb job in this, I thought. There's a lot of scenes which are way too long. They're the driving scenes mainly, because you have to drive. There's two big moments where she's in the car with her boyfriend. They drive there, which I found fine. And then they got in their car, and I was like, oh no, we're not going to have like another 20 minutes of them in the car on the way home, are we? And I was like, yeah, we are. Really could have done without a lot of that, because a lot of the dialogue, it isn't 100% needed. However, I will say the dialogue is great. This feels like a natural conversation. All of the conversations in this do. And that's why I want to give this film a lot of props. I thought it was beautiful to look at as well. I'm going to give this film a 6 out of 10. I thought it was rather interesting, but it's not great. Then we got The Babysitter. I knew The Babysitter 2, Killer Queen, was coming out, and I heard that The Babysitter was one of Netflix's more, because it looks like one of Netflix's shit films, but I heard it was one that looked shit, which was actually okay. So I was curious, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to watch A Babysitter in preparation for The Babysitter 2, which came out like 2 days after I watched this. And The Babysitter 1 was actually quite fun, I thought. Yeah, this film doesn't do anything spectacular. It's got some bad acting in it, really bad acting. And the director doesn't do anything too interesting with the film, but it's fun, it's quirky, it's like Home Alone if it was a horror and a teen movie. And yeah, you know, I had a good time with it. I thought it was funny at times. It was just interesting. It held my attention. I walked away going, you know what? I actually had a fun time with that movie. I'm also going to give The Babysitter a 6 out of 10. Babysitter Killer Queen. Now, I did review this one here on the channel. So I'll be brief. This is one of the worst movies I've ever seen, period. Not only is everything that I highlight from the first one still bad, but every other aspect is also bad now. So you've got the acting, which has got worse. You've got the directing, which is just abysmal. The sets, the way the film looks is just appalling. It looks like a high quality YouTube movie. Like, this looks low budgeted even for Netflix. Like, when some characters die, their death scenes are absolutely hilariously bad. The plot makes absolutely no sense. No effort has gone into it whatsoever. This film is just terrible. I'll give it a 1 out of 10. Sing Street. Now, this one here, I have my good friend Alex Pitt to thank for, because he sent me this one as VCLT, and I had never seen this movie before. And I watched it and I thought it was absolutely incredible, which I'm sure is why he sent it to me. Now, I'm a big fan of that 70s punk British rock sound. It's great. Like, they even do some songs by some of these bands in the film, like The Cure and The Jam. You know, I love me some Paul Weller. They do some really, really great British punk music. And not only that, but this film is carried by some incredible actors. Incredible actors. I think all of the characters in this movie... Sorry, I heard a noise downstairs and it's really distracting me here. The actors all do a fantastic job, and the characters as well are all so well written. I love the awkwardness between some of them in this. The love story is just so fascinating to watch. I love the look of this film, the feel of it. It almost feels like at times it's throwing me back to watching, like, so I've seen so many films on like bands like the Beatles and the Who, just how they formed and stuff. More low budgeted movies, but it reminded me a bit of Nowhere Boy, which I thought was a great movie as well. And the music in it is fantastic as well. This is like right up my street in terms of music. I'm going to give Sing Street an 8.5 out of 10. I thought this movie was really good, so thank you, Alex, for recommending that to me. Then we've got The Devil All the Time. Now, this movie I have also talked about in my podcast again, so please go check out the podcast. I go into a lot more detail on it there. And this, of course, Tom Holland's new movie. I haven't reviewed it here on the channel. I probably won't now, because I feel like the time has passed for that movie. But The Devil All the Time was, it was an interesting movie. I didn't mind it. It was, I thought this film was carried by its actors. You know, Tom Holland does a fantastic job, as does Robert Pattinson. But all the actors do a great job. I thought the last act of the movie was very entertaining. The first two, though, there were moments I liked, and then there were other moments where I was bored and I didn't really care, because there are some characters which you don't really know why they're in the movie till the end when it starts to tie together, and I was like, I don't really care about you at the minute. I know that I'm probably going to at the end, but right now I don't. This is a film which I do feel might actually be better on a second watch, because you'll appreciate the first two acts a lot more. Because you would have seen the last act and you know where certain plot points and stories and characters are going. But I've seen it the once. I'm not a religious person, and the insanity of some people with religion almost angers me. That's not a dig at people who are religious. I respect people, but you see some real crazy people here with religion, and I've experienced that in my life. A lot of musicians and stuff who I look up to, you know, they've suffered at the hands of some of these people who are just so over the top crazy with religion, you know, that it drives them almost insane. So it's a very interesting thing to watch. But I'm going to give The Devil All the Time a 6 out of 10. I thought it was good. Maybe on second watch I could bump this score up, so I might regret that score. Next up is El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie. Now, yes, I did finish Breaking Bad this month for the first time. It's the first time I've ever watched it. And I'll tell you now quickly, Breaking Bad is one of the best TV shows I've ever made. It's one of the best shows I've ever seen. I think that is the best final season I've ever seen to a show. The final season of Breaking Bad was out of this world good. I would honestly give it a 10 out of 10. I thought it was perfect. I was so engaged with the whole thing. I couldn't wait to see what happened next. Game of Thrones, fuck you. El Camino, Breaking Bad. This movie, I would have been really worried when this film was coming out if I was a Breaking Bad fan. I would have been really worried about carrying this on. And as a fan, that they'd ruin it. And I can tell you now, they didn't. I thought this movie was really good. I liked all the flashbacks. I liked seeing some of my favourite characters again, who I hadn't seen for a while. Some of the cameos in it were fantastic. I forget the guy's name, but the ginger guy who had Jessie tied up. Wow, his character was expanded upon so much in this movie. He cracked me up, even though I knew he was a complete psycho, but he was so entertaining to watch. The acting all around is incredible. It's nice to see the show, or this movie, have a bit of a bigger budget. It looks a lot sharper. Yeah, it was just a really, really good movie. And it's nice that Jessie got a really good ending. I wouldn't be against another one just to see what he gets up to next. I really wouldn't. I trust the creators of this Breaking Bad world so much. And I am going to get on Better Call Saul, for those of you who are going to mention that. I'm going to give this movie a 7.5, I think I'll go. I'm borderlining 8, I can't lie, but I'm going to stick with a 7.5. I thought it was a really, really good movie. Speaking of Breaking Bad, next up, I watched Bryan Cranston again in The One and Only Ivan. So this is a Disney Plus original movie. I'm not sure if this one was meant to go to the cinema. I'm not sure. This is my favourite Disney film that I've seen in 2020 so far. And it might end up being my favourite, because at the minute, Soul, I'm pretty sure, is being pushed back, and Black Widow, I'm very confident, will be pushed back. Yeah, The One and Only Ivan is actually my favourite Disney film. It doesn't have much competition this year. The only other Disney film which I liked on the same sort of level was Onward. But I'd actually rather watch this again than Onward, just because, you know, I'm not going to get into Onward, but that film didn't blow me away. This film here, the first act I was a bit like, it's going to be a bit of a throwaway movie. But then the second act, you really, really do get connected to these characters. And the third act, it almost breaks you at times. There are some really heartwarming moments. I could feel my eyes swelling up. The character development is out of this world. And it has a lot of important messages at the end of the movie as well, which, you know, I think are very important. And yeah, I thought the ending was actually just so beautiful. It really was. I thought the ending was just superb. Even thinking about it now, I'm a big animal lover. You know, most people are. But, you know, my eyes were swelling up at it, and I thought it was a gorgeous movie. As I say, the first act, you do wonder where they're going to go with it. But once you get past the first act, you can sort of see which direction they're going in, and it's a great direction. The characters are all so good. All the animals are brilliant. All the voice actors work as well. Not like Doolittle. Like, they get Tom Holland, a really young guy with a young voice, to voice a really old, shaggy dog with glasses. It's like, the voice actors all fit their characters here. They all do a great job. Bryan Cranston, that man is one of the best actors on the planet. He's incredible. The One and Only Ivan, I'm going to give it a high score. I'm going to give it an 8. This film doesn't do anything spectacular, but it is very fun. And the CGI looks great for the most part. There's some long shots where it looks a little bit rough, but the close-ups look great. You've got to go into this film. You know, it's a Disney live-action animal film. It's not going to blow you away, really. But the ending is so nice. I can't not praise this film. Then we've got Elena Holmes, which I've also reviewed here on the channel. So, I won't go into immense detail on that, but had a lot of fun with this one. I love Sherlock Holmes. I love these mystery stories. So Elena Holmes, I thought she was always been a Sherlock character. Apparently she's new, and she's not the same as the sister of Sherlock we see in the BBC show that I was already aware of. But anyway, I had a great time in this movie. I thought it was super fun. All the actors did a great job. You know, Millie Bobby Brown was surprisingly really good. This might be my favourite performance of hers. Don't get me wrong, she does some incredible stuff in Stranger Things, but she tends to annoy me sometimes, and she doesn't in this movie at all, and she was actually quite funny. Henry Cavill is just marvellous. He always is. Yeah, so I just really, really enjoyed the hell out of this movie. The sets were fantastic. It was beautiful. The score was fun. I'll give this movie a 7.5. Pretty sure that's what I gave it in my review. Next up is Dark Waters. Dark Waters. Now, this is a really, really interesting film about a company which is polluting basically poisoning the water in this community. And Mark Ruffalo is playing a guy who's trying to expose them and trying to obviously get the waters clean. And this movie is, it's intense. It honestly reminded me of Chernobyl, just because the TV show, just because of the way it was shot. It was gritty, it was dark, the film felt poisonous, and I loved that. I was watching this and I was like, this just feels terrible, because you know that these types of things happen in real life. You know that some people care more about money than lives, and they would gladly do this to a community if it meant being as rich as possible. And you're watching it, you're going, this is just so gripping. And the performances are just, once again, fantastic. Mark Ruffalo, this might be the best... Yeah, I'm going to say, I think this might be the best performance I've ever seen him give. Anne Hathaway's fantastic in this movie as well. This film is fantastic. It really is. I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. And the final film I've seen of September 2020 is The War with Grandpa. Woo! I know a lot of you are probably going, why'd you even bother? And I was asking that after I finished it, to be honest. The War with Grandpa, I watched this film because Robert De Niro. Although, saying that, Robert De Niro does do a few really dodgy films. What honestly sold me on it, because Robert De Niro pulled me and I was like, oh, okay, this looks bad, but Robert De Niro, I wonder who else in it. And Christopher Walken sold me on it. There's something about that guy. I could watch him in anything. That guy just, I love watching Christopher Walken. I think he's such a funny actor. Yeah, this film is so totally, unbelievably unfunny and unrealistic. And that's the thing, it's set today, and it's trying to be a comedy. And it really, really goes for those laugh out loud moments at times. There's a bit where the mum of this family, the actress from the Kill Bill movies, I mean, she's doing a lot these days, and she throws coffee out her car window at one point, and it's lands on a police officer on his motorbike. Then somehow there's a snake in the car with her. She chucks a snake out the car, and then it lands on the police officer another day. And it's like, they're really going for these laugh out loud moments, but they're so unbelievable. And they're just shot so poorly, and the actors are just not doing a good job, that it's very unfunny. Robert De Niro, he wants a paycheck here. The only one that made me laugh was Christopher Walken. And it's only because he's Christopher Walken. That guy's hilarious. He could just be reading the menu in a restaurant and I'd find him funny. So, Bad Grandpa, I'll give it a 3.5. I'll go 3.5. I'll be a bit kind. 3.5 out of 10. It's not a good movie. They tried, but it's a complete cash grab. And the funny thing is, it probably didn't even make any money because, coronavirus. But there we go. There are the movies I've seen in September of 2020. We're getting there, people. We're nearly out of 2020. I know 2021 isn't going to be great either at the start, but hey, maybe nearer the end of 2021, there'll be some light in the tunnel. We'll be coming out of this weird world and we'll have loads of exciting movies to talk about instead of things like Babysitter, Killer Queen and The War with Grandpa. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video as always, guys. As I say, Blu-ray hunting video should be on the way Monday, Tuesday, and I have another sort of big video in the works that I will be able to upload to my channel. As for the other one, I'm going to find a way for you guys to see it. But anyway, that is it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it as always. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like the video, leave a message, and I'll see you all next time for another video. Bye-bye.